memory and history. In fact, the last people who were actually alive during the conflict are about to be all dead by now, because it was 72, 73 years ago. So the children or the young people do not realize. So we need to talk about it over and over again, but not necessarily in a sad way, but just the facts, to get the facts right.
The points, yes.
What happened. And in fact, a lot of children from school go to Germany to visit the camps where Jews were massacred. And when they go there, they realize what was happening. And when they look at the pictures, the photos of that time, and they visit the site, they say, oh my God, that really happened and never again. So to keep on reminiscing that moment and reminding the young people that it happened and it shouldn't have and it shall never happen again. But it's a continuous exercise of education and history.
All right, let's now talk about the recent elections that were held in France as well as in Uganda here at the French Embassy. 2 weeks ago, there was the first round of elections where there were about 7 to 9 candidates and only
11 candidates.
11 candidates. And people like François Fillon, the former president, they were defeated. What do you have to say about the traditional parties not making it to the second round of the polls?
Well, they were wiped out. They were out of the picture very soon. Why that happened? Well, there's several reasons. One of them is that these two traditional parties went through primaries. The previous 5 years ago, only one of them did. This time they tried the system. And the candidate that emerged from the primaries were not the expected ones. They defeated all the polls. So that was a bit of a surprise. Then these two candidates, one on the left side had a very lefty type of program. So he was stretching on the left. The other one suffered many affairs, financial affairs. He hired his wife and there were many legal issues, proceedings that really, you couldn't actually talk about the issue. So they were facing many issues themselves, and while they were facing those, two very strong movements emerged. The right, the extreme right, was being there and going, and Emmanuel Macron, who was unknown to the public 3 years ago, and who created this movement only 1 year ago. And he gathered all the people who were disgusted by all the stories and wanted something fresh, something new. He's the youngest president ever in France. He's 39 years old. The youngest one back in '74 was 48 when he became president. And looking at leaders, the Napoleons were 35, but that was at the beginning of the 18th century. So it's a massive change on the political landscapes in France.
Okay. So many people have been talking about how young Emmanuel Macron is. Do you think his age might affect his political career as the new president of France?
Well, there is a very famous French writer called Corneille. By in the 17th century, he said, and I quote in French, aux âmes bien nées, la valeur n'attend point le nombre des années. It says, to soul nobly born, valor doesn't depend on age. And that was said by a French writer back in the 17th century. So what does it mean? It means we have here a very brilliant young guy who emerged very swiftly, who had a program and a speech which pleased many people, including the young people who saw themselves more being embodied in him rather than older politicians. And it happened. It's irrelevant what his age is, as long as he's speaking the truth. He follows a vision which he displayed, and he surrounds himself by the right people. After all, it's a teamwork.
Okay, and any comments on Marine Le Pen and her policies? Many people disagreed with the fact that she wanted to chase away people,
immigrants, foreigners.
Foreigners, immigrants, minorities from France. Yes.
Well, yeah, so this movement of extreme right have been propagating ideas, and some of them were extremely fake. When during the debate, the journalist realized that she said 19 lies.
19 lies.
During the debate. Emmanuel Macron made 2 or 3 mistakes, approximations. She lied 19 times. So she's basing our entire program and rhetoric on news, on pieces of information which are not true. So, for example, she speaks about the huge cost of immigrants.
Yes.
Well, the latest study was back in 2011, and in fact, it was mentioning that the net of all the cost of the immigrants and all the value they provide is actually an excess.
Okay.
And this study has never been challenged by scientific evidence since. So she says this, and she says the cost is 15 billion, and based on what? Nobody actually knows.
Statistics to prove.
She says that the terrorist attacks came because of all these migrants coming from Syria.
But there's no
out
proof,
of
really.
18 terrorist attacks committed by people, 18 people were implicated. Only 5 of them were not French. The others were actually French people, and they didn't come from Syria. So she was mentioning all these issues like this, saying that they were facts and they were actually fake news. So, number one, she was a danger to Europe. She wanted to renegotiate treaties and possibly do a referendum in the same manner as the UK. Exactly. And the UK leaving was very sad news for Europe, but France is more in the center of the engine for Europe. And the tandem with Germany has to be strong for this unity to stand. So she was a real threat to Europe. That was very scary to many people. And she was anti-migrants, anti-foreigners. She wanted to give the priority to the French when some people have been there for 30 years working peacefully in France, and they were going to be expelled. So it would have created massive chaos in my country in between people. So I think to that extent, everybody was very much relieved, including myself, to see Emmanuel Macron elected.
Amazing. Thanks for that input, madam. And maybe talking about Emmanuel Macron and his presidency and the reforms that he expects to instill, he's looking at promoting financial growth. How, in your opinion, how do you think that will also sift down to countries that benefit from France's financial support, especially Uganda here in question?
I think his entire mentality is about liberating, freeing countries from anything that is blocking initiatives, entrepreneurship. He has in that way a business mind when he approaches an issue. So I think for France, he wants to unlock whatever is blocking initiatives, and that could be the bureaucracy, that could be the funding which is not directed in an efficient way. It could be flexibility in the way you can hire or fire people in order for people to have a more agile and fluid working place. And when you apply this to the rest of the world and his vision about the rest of the world, he wants to, and I think I'm a strongly supporter of that vision, to turn relationship into partnerships.
Yes.
I mean, after all, why should Africa not be a partner or equal with France? We have a very long-standing, intimate history with the continent.
Can share resources.
West Africa, but also East Africa. Sharing of experience, help, on some extent, military collaboration, which is very important in Uganda. We believe that we have a lot of knowledge in that field. We've been intervening in Africa a lot for stability and peace, and I think we can continue on that trend. For the business, I think the approach is to say, we'll help in any way we can. The most vulnerable on the one hand, the refugees, the children and women, but also will help business to grow. And this is why the Agency of Development has been focusing their activities on production of electricity, production of clean water, and also infrastructure such as the Kampala-Jinja Expressway. So we want to help also on that type of activity, which is likely to produce business, employment, and prosperity to the Ugandan people.
All right. Thanks a lot for that, Madam Ambassador. Let's now just take a quick break, and we shall return and finalize our interview session. Keep tuned to UBC TV.
I am confident, charismatic, and spontaneous with the aura that is not about to burn out yet. In fact, I'm so excited. I mean, come on guys, look at my face. In fact, I'm about to break out into a song, but I'll save you guys the horror because my voice. Hello guys, my name is Drago. Join me and Zuleika as we unveil for you Uganda's A-listers in a way that you've never seen before. Every Thursday, 9:30 p.m. This is Chilling.
And in case you've just joined us, I am interacting with the French ambassador to Uganda, Her Excellency Stephanie Rivoal. We have been talking about French policies, the French elections, and the collaborations that France is having with Uganda. Maybe we shall summarize them at the end for those who have just joined. But you, on Monday, when we were celebrating the 73 years of the end of the World War and the cooperation between France and Germany, you also highlighted that France is offering combat techniques to the UPDF, yes, especially training those who are going to serve in AMISOM in Somalia, but more specifically, here in Uganda, they're training soldiers who are in the high altitude areas at the borders of Uganda and Congo.
Yes.
How did that military collaboration come in place?
So it's a very strong one. It has two activities, basic training for UPDF soldiers deployed in AMISOM, and we take people, we have a base in Djibouti, so we have experts coming down from Djibouti who come here and train them on the basic training. Basic training is about how do I follow the orders of my superior, how do I manipulate my weapon, what are the rules of engagement, how do I respect international humanitarian law. So this basic training as to basic combat techniques, but also the chain of command and the laws is something that we do on a regular basis. We have now 21 different sessions into which the French have been participating, alongside the US, the UK, and logistic support from the Netherlands. Now on the mountain, it's new. Why do we have this collaboration? Is because France, as you know, on our borders, we have mountains, and we know how to intervene in this type of environment, which is very different from the land or desertic areas. So you need to know how to engage in this type of landscapes, and also to protect your borders, to make sure that you don't have illicit activities going on and on. So we are interacting. In fact, we have a French soldiers embedded into the UPDF. He's wearing the UPDF uniform.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's a very close relationship, and we're trying to share experience. And they are working in Port Fortal, as you mentioned, to as an experiment in order to see how to do this in Uganda.
Amazing. So, Madam Ambassador, the AFD, also known as the French Development Agency, it works to fight poverty and promote sustainable development, and it is active in Africa, in Asia, in the Middle East, Latin America, among others. So how is Uganda in particular benefiting from AFD's support?
AFD has been acting in Uganda not that long ago, around 7 years or so, and it's been growing and growing its commitments. It's most of them loans based on projects that where we can support very low cost money on the one hand, but also technical assistance on how to design a project. This is an expertise that the AFD has, so we thought that together with the European colleagues, some of them would be funding education, some other would be funding health, and some other justice or governance. And as far as we're concerned, we're providing the expertise in electricity, hydroelectricity, water treatment, treatment, sanitation, climate change adjustment as well. So these and infrastructure such as expressway, especially the Kampala-Jinja one.
Yes.
So we thought, okay, we have a lot of knowledge in this area. Let's see how we can help Uganda develop using these skills that we have, providing very cheap money and technical assistance.
Okay. So let's also talk about the French elections that were held. Emmanuel Macron is by far, for now, compared to Napoleon Bonaparte of the 18th century, is by far the youngest president, and he has policies that are in the offing that I think attracted the biggest percentage of French nationals to tick him in the ballot. What made him, what made Marine Le Pen trail behind him in the elections?
So to give you a bit of analysis as to how Emmanuel Macron got the 66% of the votes.
Yes.
Some of them were, of course, because they liked this program, they liked his personality, they liked his themes, his speeches. But some of them, we can't deny that, voted for him in order to rule Marine Le Pen out. And this is now where Emmanuel Macron, as a president-elect, will have to put these forces together and make sure he represents not only his programs and his ideas, of course he will, but the entire French people, including the ones who didn't vote for his program but against Marine Le Pen.
Yes.
Why did we have such a vote of defiance against Marine Le Pen? It's because Marine Le Pen is part of a very long-standing party, and French people have a bit of memory in that extent. She's the daughter of Jean-Marie Le Pen. He's an extreme right politician from a long time ago, and the party Front National has a reputation. And the reputation is one of exclusion of foreigners, as we said, fight against immigration, using facts which are actually not true, not realizing that France is a country of diversity. We have 10% of our population which is of African descent. And we have a lot of people who came from Portugal and Italy and a variety of Arabic descent as well. And I'm proud of that. I think that France is great because of this diversity. And I think this party has been denying the identity of France, rejecting these people as not real French. And this is unacceptable for the value France is standing for. But because the dissemination of this fake news together combined with the economic crisis, the fact that people were very unhappy with losing their employments. And when you are unhappy, you want a scapegoat. And all of a sudden, this party was providing the scapegoat in the form of the foreigners and the French of African or Arabic descent. So some people realized, especially after the debate, which was a very, very heated debate, and it was extremely aggressive on the part of Marine Le Pen. Emmanuel Macron won the debate, according to the journalist, because she was attacking, she was on the attack. And I think people now wanted to debate the issues, the ideas, the proposals on how to get the French people happier, get them better lives. So I think the reaction was to say, oh, let's remember the history of this party, what it stands for, and who we actually are. We are the country of diversity. This is a wealth. And I was very happy to see that the French people remembered where we're coming from.
Okay. And maybe in any final remarks, what do you have to tell the public who are watching UBC TV and the French nationals at large?
I think these are exciting times. Why? Because massive changes happen in my country on the political scene. It was so massive that we are all puzzled as to what's going to come next. Traditional parties are, some of them, in shreds, and we have new elections for the parliament coming soon. So those are times extremely exciting because it's new. And I want to talk about the future of the relationship of France with the African continent and in particular Uganda. I think Emmanuel Macron, and this is something I've also said many times, I think Africa is the future of France. It's part of its future in a large shrunk. Why? Because we have a very strong relationship. We have an history. It's made of like a family of good things and bad things. You can have a variety of comments on our history, but it's there. It's long-standing, it's extremely strong. As I said, 10% of the French people are from African descent, so it's so intertwined that our relationship is extremely strong.
Yeah.
And we need to build on it, and we need to project ourselves in the future.
Okay.
What sort of relationship do we want with African countries? What sort of economic relationship, cultural relationship do we want to do with the future? Africa is a continent with the strongest growth. Africa is going to have over 2 billion people by 2030. This is where the future pretty much of the entire world is.
Yeah.
But Africa has to solve so many issues. The issues of security, of terrorism, demographics. So how do we together, France on the one hand, Africa on the other hand, build this future?
All right. Thanks a lot for your input, Madam Ambassador. And thank you for making time to join us
Thank
here
you
at the
for
UBC
inviting
studio.
me. Thank you very much, sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
I've been interacting with Her Excellency Stephanie Rivoal. She is the French ambassador to Uganda, and the French embassy is located at Lumumba Avenue in Nakasero. Yes, in case they want to learn about French activities, like maybe say how to enter the Alliance
Alliance Française.
the French school in Uganda. Well, we didn't highlight that one. Can you just talk about it?
Yeah,
in a jiffy?
people thought sometimes that the Alliance Française was not operating anymore. It is, and it's flourishing. It's offering a variety of cultural activities, French classes, but also French movies and debates and exhibitions. So drop by. It's very close to the Acacia Mall in that area.
Okay.
You'll find everything on the internet, the website of the embassy in Uganda. All the details are there, but go and drop by and see what's going on there.
All right. Thank you, madam. And thanks a lot. Keep tuned to UBC TV, inspiring Uganda. I am Simon Mugisha.